Let's do a deep breath. Out. In. Out. In. Out. That's what I call conscious healing. Why is conscious healing? Because I'm consciously meditate deep into the essence of life, the essence of cells, the essence of atoms, the molecules, the atoms, the atom space, to open up the space. I'm consciously transcend. So I'm not going to be operated like a machine, like a biological machine. 99% people are operating. That is subconsciousness, auto-consciousness, pilot, disk-oriented, automatic operation. I'm going to do is a totally new, because every second is fresh. Every second, every nanosecond is alive. Penetrate into the essence of life, the inner being of the universe, not just external being. We have explored it. The external world for the last hundreds of years. Particles, waves, the macro universe, the cosmology for the last 100 years. We have a standard model. Is that model correct? We doubt about it, because new evidence comes out. But that's not the question what I would talk about. We have done tremendous work on external exploration. Explore the macro universe, the visible universe, the outer space. How much we have done in the inner world. Here, what I'm talking about is the innermost consciousness. That inner healing. Why inner healing? Why consciousness healing? The consciousness healing is definitely internal, because we are internally interconnected. From the stars to galaxies to all the sentient beings on this planet and beyond. We connect. We think, okay, there's an influencer. Let's be influenced. There's an observer. There's observed. There's a participator. There's all passive watcher. Is that true? No. It's a falsified vision, falsified paradigm. That's what I called old paradigm. Old way of OS, operation system. Because the perception is all external, the external perception is limited. let's say we say science. Science we divided in tremendous amount of divisions. Medical divisions we divided in so many, more than 20, more than 30, more than 40, more than 50, and more. And molecular biology, chemistry, and immune biology, endocrine system, and so many. You know, how many of us really see the whole picture? Everybody's really study the part, not just part, minor part. Yes, from the minor part, can we connect with the macro? Not just the macro outer universe, but the internal, consciously to see. So that's why we need healing, because we are so fragmented, we are so divided, we are so departmental. We believe everything's set. Your destiny is set. Everything is written. Everything is created. Everything is just set. Nothing can be changed until quantum physics. We see information is not just here, but all over there. It's everywhere. Nothing is settled. Everything is a probability. Everything is a possibility. Everything is a potentiality until it's observed. That means the observer and observed is united. By what? Consciousness. As I said many times, I said for the last 50 years, consciousness is the fundamental. Without consciousness, there's no healing. You want to do chemical healing? You want to do objective healing, physical healing? It's impossible. You cut one piece, the root of the cause is still there. Just like this friend from MIT. He did surgery for the last 20 years. I have a lot of my students do surgeries for 30, 40 years. They see that. Nothing is objective. Human beings at 30 years old go to the cardiovascular table, have cardio surgery, open heart surgery. Why? Because they believe everything is material. They can do whatever. They forgot the whole consciousness. They forgot about healing. They forgot everything about themselves. They depend on what? On medicine, on objective things. And then 30 years old, they barely survive. And then they did the surgery. But the surgery, after surgery, what happened? Are they getting better? No. All the things coming back. The abuse come back. The habits coming back. The errors come back. The falsified beliefs coming back. The old conditioned mind. The old operation comes back. Until you let that operation go. Consciously see your innermost consciousness of that intelligence, the innermost consciousness of wisdom, the inner capacity, the innate ability, not to conquer, but to heal, not to create conflicts, but create a new life. Over 3 million cells die each minute, but 3 million cells. We can give this birth, new birth cells, power, with fresh air, fresh perceiving of energy, fresh information, totally new antenna, totally new information, totally new vital energy frequency. The life changed because of that consciousness connection. That connection is called Tian Ren He Yi. That connection is called 参无合一. What is 天人合一? It's Lao Tzu said. 无为而无不为. Why 无为而无不为? Why 天人合一? 天人合一 means the heaven and earth mingle into one. That means as a human being, as a self, unique consciousness of that self, it's sort of like one molecule of the 8 billion, 80 billion, 100 billion, 1,000 billion conscious sentient beings. Billions of sentient beings, trees, plants, fish, whales, all conscious beings. How many of them set up hospitals? How many of them really regard themselves as objects? We'll go to hospital to heal. We'll go to surgery to heal. Do the monkeys have hospitals? Do the turtles have hospitals? They live a long time. Do they have hospitals? The bird? Do they travel? They have to get a pilot? No, they don't. Why? Because they have the inability. That's what I talk about, the consciousness of that inability to heal, especially chronic disease. We cut, we give drugs. Do those help? I don't think so. It's temporarily patch the wounds. But bottom line of the root, just like our friend said from my MIT neurosurgeon, I did for 20 years. I didn't help any people at all. Some people get worse immediately. Some people look like they get better, but they come back. The always problems continuous because that's the perpetual model we are on. Financial model, systematic model, the structural model, the economical and system model. Can we get out that old system? Yes, we can. Otherwise, I won't be here. Raise our consciousness. Without raise consciousness, we follow everything people say, because automatic. We listen. We're dependent. We become the second man, third man, fourth man, the fifth man. We're not even second man. We become second hand, third hand of man and woman. Anything original? Anything really fresh? Anything alive? To see the universe internally and externally. That's what I call that total consciousness of an individual, a total consciousness of the humanity. Think about it from the body alone. Everybody's familiar with the body, right? We have cells, we have molecules, we have atoms, we have atom space, the particles, the electrons, the protons, neutrons, nucleus, and we have quarks, whatever, neutrinos, leptons, you name it, or particles. The particles, but it's also waves. The waves. They spread all over the universe. There are possibilities, potentialities. until observed. The consciousness have everything, because as we see, as the quantum physics begin to lead us to see, connected with the, you can say spirituality or mystics or traditional wisdom, whatever you can name it. We see there's a resonance. The resonance is that we are connected, interconnected. There's a total connection. There's a holistic, holographic cell, the holographic, holistic being, like each one of us. When we see that, everything affects us. People's language, people's information. What do? What do we talk? What do we connect? Our environment. Everything we call feng shui. That connection. And then we also see there's interconnection. That's quantum entanglement. The quantum entanglement means the information, if it is related, interacted, it's going to be affect each other forever. It doesn't matter how far, because far, time, space, it's a locality, it's a space-time, it's the interface. But beyond the interface, it's the potentiality. It's that consciousness, the innermost consciousness of each being, innermost consciousness of the cosmic matrix is totally one, unified field. Maybe we will use consciousness, say quantum consciousness field, or use the term of quantum physics, we say quantum field, unified field. We can use string theory or many other theories, or loop quantum theory. You can name all kinds of theories. But one thing is clear. It's beyond space-time. That's real communication. The formula, you don't have to include time. You don't have to include location. It's happening. That a cause effect is happening. It's instantaneously. As I mentioned, we call quantum entanglement without space-time. What I call is quantum consciousness. That's why quantum healing is there, because when you see the quantum healing, you see the cosmic consciousness and my consciousness and each one of I, each one of mine consciousness. It's totally interconnected. Affect each other. We are participator. My consciousness is the universe consciousness. My consciousness is the cosmic consciousness. I affect the cosmic affect me. Yeah, we are all in that quantum consciousness field, that infinite field. See, just like John Wheeler said, one particle of the universe. When he called Richard Feynman, mid of the night. Richard Feynman was his student, I told you many times. Richard Feynman, everybody thinks is the finest, the genius of the United States after Einstein. But he's very, very respectful to John Wheeler, his teacher, because he's very active. John Wheeler has so much to offer. His theory and his experiment, his delayed double slit experiment, give people another view of the world. And that means we, as a human being, that consciousness is connected with the past, future is totally connected. Even the delayed shooting of that photons with the delayed observation can change everything. So that is to say, that observation, that observer and observed is united, is one without duality. That means the yin and the yang, as most martial artists, most people probably realized, is interconnected, is one. There's no one without the other. That's why Niels Bohr called it the complementary theory. And he was so fascinated with. And that's why he theorized with that theory of yin and yang into his complementary theory of the quantum physics, which he argued with our beloved Albert Einstein for almost 100 years and his followers, all together. So, but with the consequences, with the results, with that effect of quantum physics, today we see quantum physics is used everywhere. Our outer space, our inner space. So that's what I call conscious healing. Conscious healing is a quantum leap in that consciousness healing. That means everything is interconnected, everything affects each other, and the weather, the environment, our people we talk, everything we communicate, that each event, each call, each resonance, each communication, each meeting, each connection has a consequence that affects whole. Every event affects another. Everything built by events, built by activities, built by our inner connection, transcend into the quantum field, unified quantum field. What I call it the consciousness matrix of the cosmos, that infinite field. So when that happens, and then we see Tian Ren He Yi, Lao Tzu said, it's totally same thing. I cosmic, we cosmic, environment cosmic, is totally connected into the whole, innerly connected. So that individual is no longer the fragmented individual, is no longer divided individual, no longer the drug affects all, because you feel drug affected because you see as individually divided material, chemical, mechanical being. That's why you see that chemicals affected all, because you thought that all that is the surgeries affect all. I see is the quantum consciousness healing is coming, because as people are awakening in this planet and beyond these galaxies, in the whole universe, all the sentient beings, beyond these tiny little earth sentient little beings, well, we all realize, especially us, the human beings, we are so behind. connect to other galaxies as I see. I could be wrong. Maybe my vision was not as clear as you are. But that doesn't matter. But I see what Nikola Tesla see, what so many people like Lao Tzu, like Gautama see. We are all interconnected. The entire cosmos and beyond. If that is so, the inner consciousness can heal anything that is. Yes, the hospital can solve the temporary problems of the trauma, of the, broken leg, no problem. But eventually, who is the healing? Who is one doing healing? The inner being, the cosmic inner being. So, there's no division. There's no individual healing. The individual healing is connected with cosmic healing. So let's heal ourselves from that cells, from that molecules, from that divided thoughts, from that belief systems, that divided belief systems, that hatreds, that divisions, that dominance, that robbery mentality, that mafia mentality, that gangsters mentality, the hegemon mentality. We are all interconnected. If we kill another person, we kill ourselves. If you get that person sick, we get ourselves sick. You don't see that, but it's true. That's true. So the healing is important because that heals yourself. When you heal yourself, heal the whole population. When you heal yourself, you heal everything around. Because that healing is not individual healing. Individual healing never happens when you get the drugs. That's not heal. That's called a patching. That is called a stopping. That's called a blocking. That's not heal. So real healing is from within. That consciousness healing. And when we've awakened and we see that conscious healing is going to be the future of humanity when we wake up. That healing is going to happen in everywhere. In community, in schools, in business, in country to country, community to community, clans to clan, family to family, business to business. That healing got to be from the within. That's need a great conscious awakening. Read my podcast. Not just listen to the videos or watch the videos, read the words, the descriptions, the website, the vlogs, the blogs, and to see what I was talking about. And you have to decide. Don't just listen to me or watch what I said, but use your own mind, penetrate into your own consciousness, being. A lot of people call soul. A person without a soul, think about it. A person without a consciousness, think about it. A person thinking of himself as a AI, think about it. Mechanical being, without alive. Just like Richard Feynman, one time said in his lecture, I listened to quite a few of them. I see he's so connected with me in many, many ways. You're a human being. You can feel. You can communicate. You can see. You can get a glimpse of it immediately. You communicate with the cosmos. Immediately download. Immediately you see that person. Immediately recognize that person's consciousness. Immediately transcend beyond space-time. Alive. You see the bird and you communicate. You see the turtle, you can communicate. You see the fish, you can communicate. You see the ants, you can talk to the ants. Just like my friend, Mr. Zhu, the other day told me. His story is similar to my story. I meet a dog. The dog's mad dog, but come to me, and then we are calm. Nobody talk, nobody scream anymore. Both of us, the dog and me. And everybody thought that was a mad dog, because bite everybody. But in front of me, and he was quiet. And then millions of ants talked to me, and then they moved their location like that. And just like a Mr. Zhu, and he has a field. He planted field, organic field, just for the insects, all kinds of insects to eat. This is for you. This big field is for human beings. Let's meditate. Let's communicate every single day, with his colleagues, with his workers, with anybody. And he even put music over there. You see, this field for the insects live there. They eat every day over there. They live there. They go somewhere, they come back to live there. Seldom. Of course, you still have some, but very, very few go to the big field, which feed the human beings. His 1,000 acres of land. And all done in that way. That's called internal communication. That's called ecology. That's called what? Conscious healing. There's no division. There's no fight. There's no killing. That's healing. That's healing. Can you do that? Can you do that to your neighbors? Can you do that to another person you never met? But somebody you meet, that's not a conscious. That's just the feelings. That's just you are still in the material, in the visible, in the emotional, in the automatic 5 senses. Through the 5 senses. That's called external communication. But really, really consciously, from the internal, to communicate, to observe, to see, to perceive, conceive, with a totally different new action, with a totally different antenna. Let go of any beliefs, let go any old systems of operation. See, perceive, conceive with a new, totally new operation system. That is harmonious. That is consciousness. That is totally interconnected without the space-time, without the locality, directly to that quantum conscious field, without leaps. In a quantum consciousness, what I call leaps of quantum consciousness. That quantum leap in that conscious connection to that field of quantum consciousness field. That field, everybody's connected. Just never leave. But it's only your vision, your illusion that you're left. Your illusion, you do something separate. You divide yourself, you block yourself from that communication. You block yourself, you restrict yourself, you cage yourself, you yoke yourself from that freedom of the body, freedom of the mind, that really healing. The real healing is from that consciousness. When you begin to realize, you see, healing comes from within. Some people say, oh, God saved me. Yes, you are part of God. You are part of the consciousness. You are part of the cosmos. Never ever leave yourself, separate yourself, divide yourself. And then you become hopeless. You become isolated. You become caged, lonely. When you be in a big crowd, you're still lonely because your heart is lonely. You don't have any consciousness of communication. So, open your heart, open your mind, open every sense. Open all your 50 trillion to 100 trillion cells, because each cell has the total consciousness. Each cell is a holographic consciousness being. That healing from within. That penetration of meditating state is from the internal being. So that's why I say, be silent, be quiet, be in such a state that you leave all the chaotic energy frequency, all that disease state, all that old model of conditioned mind, or the old model of genetic imprints, all that old model of diseased genetic inheritance. Allow, build something new, express new, communicate directly with the consciousness of the humanity, directly to the consciousness, especially the cosmic consciousness, that quantum consciousness field, that infinite self. That's real consciousness in the healing. Not just a physical disease, not just a psychological disease, not just something you feel, but something you don't feel. The social disease, that political disease, the construct of the society, the construct of the greed, the construct of the desires, the construct of that divisions, the construct of that hatreds. That's all that division. That need inner healing. That need conscious healing. That need perpetual self-awakening. That awakening is not enough. But the awakening need to dive down to really, really take action in flow. I call actionless action. Everything, your heart is in flow, your energy is in flow, your conscious energy is in flow. Everything is in flow without efforts. That is inner quantum energy flow. That's what I call 禅五合一. What is 禅? Zen. That is the compass. That is the compass of the meditation, the compass of the communication, the compass of the infinite space to realize, to be awakening of that state. That's the compass. That compass connect all that is. That is the Zen, what I call the meditative state, the inner being, the silence, that connection internally. And then perceive and conceive. Take action. That action is a flow of action without efforts, without conflicts, without friction. That's real flow. That's called 无为而为. 无为而治, 无为而无不为. That means no action and everything is in flow, that everything becomes possible without that stigma without the struggle, without that endless endeavor, endless strive, endless fight. Because everything comes naturally. Because that's from the inner consciousness. That comes from the cosmic. That comes from the God, from the Fuguang, from that infinite nothingness. Of course, you use different language to describe, but doesn't matter. It's the one thing. It's the oneness of the universe, the realization. That consciousness is the innermost consciousness of all that is united. So in that sense, that Wu is actionless action. The action without action. I don't know how to explain it. Basically, it's a flow. It's internal, infinite flow. Is that direct interconnection? Is that a quantum leap in the consciousness? What I call my program is called leaps of quantum consciousness, or quantum leap in consciousness. It's the same thing. It's not a step by step. That's a classic physics. That's classic healing. That's classic medical healing. But this is quantum healing. Totally different. That's the consciousness from within. That healing is from that consciousness. Infinite field. The infinite communication. Infinite connection. Without space-time. Without locality. Let's take a deep breath and just deeply dive into our inner essence of that energy, of that breath, of that physical, of that sense, and go beyond that senses into that infinite field of the consciousness. Let me just do a few minutes. Let's do it. Put your hands below your navel. Just, you can do whatever position, okay? And I like this position, and I like to put my tongue to the up heart palate to calm myself down, to connect the energy frequency, to be quiet, to relax, to listen to myself, to listen to every cell, to communicate through the innermost consciousness, the subconsciousness, the non-consciousness, and into the holographic wholeness of the totality of that consciousness, of the cosmos and myself. Deeply breathe in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. Totally relax. Hold it. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. Okay, now, so that's the beginning of the healing. I've been doing this since 1978 to help, to assist another person. When I was a physician at the #1 hospital of Anhui province, the city of Wuhu, I was a Chinese physician, Chinese traditional medical physician. It's a combined hospital. You have Western medicine and the Chinese medicine. It's a combined hospital. And I realized a lot of people come to see me and they see themselves as a physical being, mechanically solve the problem. Yes, temporarily resolve some problems, help to some problems, but I see the real healing is from within. The most shocking, it was 1987 when I met this young lady. And I told a lot of people, and I briefly told some people. Here, I'm going to talk again. This lady wanted me to help her mother, who had a liver cancer, last stage. She told me literally she had a few weeks, no more than 2-3 months to live. Can I help her to live? Just to live for these few months, the few weeks, with some comfort, without suffering so much. That's how we started. We did a little bit meditation, a little bit breathing, a little bit qigong, a little bit. I devised Taigong. I call Zen Taigong later. It's kind of a Taiji combined with many, many things. Mostly I created here and watched there and then combined them together. And then we did it for a few months because I had to go to school. I began to fall in love with English, fall in love with foreign languages. I studied English, French, and Japanese at the time, and then I got my foreign languages degree in a university. So when I went through that college process, and then I didn't work with her, and I left her alone because I taught her sufficient. She can practice herself. 1994, I went back to that park where I taught her, called 镜湖公园, the Mirror Lake Park. And she had a lot of ladies, guys, follow her. They call her the Grandmaster, the fascinating master of the whole place. At that time when I met her, she was 70s. Think about it. 78, 94. Think about it. People had a last stage of liver cancer and not only survived, but thrived. That is conscious healing. That's my first patient or student I encountered with conscious healing. From that time on, I had countless conscious healing, conscious energy healing students from every labels of disease, of troubles, of issues. Just like Red Blue said. Red Blue, a lot of people saw on the internet. He had a prostate cancer, and then he had bone cancer, and he had a spinal cord, whole body full of cancer. It was that. He could not even walk. He could not even stand or even sit straight. He lost over 80 pounds. Think about it. In that stage, and I told his son, if he was out of medical care, then I will try it. That was the last stage. They told him he has a few weeks, not even a few months. Because he was lost all the energy, all the modality. 7 months later, there's an interview. It's on my internet. It's on my YouTube. There's 2 years later, there's another interview. How he survived, how he thrived. Of course, to him, it's the most consciousness. Most changing his thought, changing his mental behavior and physical behavior. Of course, some nutrition. But it's you, it's that person. It's Red Blue, it's each person from internal consciousness, energy frequency, heal oneself from within. That is the most important conscious healing. Of course, I have hundreds of healing, conscious healing cases I can present. Today, let's talk up to here. We can have more talk in the future. We'll leave some space, some comments, and we can chat. Thank you. It's October the 10th to 13th. All right, go to DeRuAcademy.com. Also go to Shaolin Institute. There, a lot of information about my podcast. Everywhere the information is there, and visit and let's talk. And you can call 770-286-9808. You can just go to the website or text us. Whatever you want to do, communicate. Let's work together, create a future of healing together, create a future of humanity together. Let the old OS go. Transcend and build new OS of the future. Start here today. Thank you. As conscious healing, this Genesis Summit, Kung Fu Renaissance. Kung Fu over here is action in flow. Kung Fu here is the general Kung Fu, generalized Kung Fu, penetrate in all consciousness. Is what we perceive with a new antenna. It is what we reprogram ourselves from the old system to a new, from the old perception division to a new harmony, from the old physical healing to conscious healing, to inner healing. That's all it is about. So we have meditation, we have Friday evening, 8:30, we have Saturday morning, we have Sunday dialogue and healing seminars, and we have Monday all morning seminars and workshops on the internal healing, on Kung Fu, generalized Kung Fu, integrated holographic Kung Fu, which is not only just for healing, but for vitality, for anybody who are interested in raise the energy frequency to rise above, beyond that old three-dimensional subconsciousness, automatic operation, that emotion, that old conditioned mind, that diseased state of the mind and of the body. Let's heal together.